When I gave up my weight loss journey in 2018, I felt free. I ate what I wanted, moved the way I wanted, I dressed the way I wanted. I started to live no matter my weight. The connection I had with my body grew closer and deeper. I felt fly and alive, and I exuded a confidence I wish I had as a young teen. But then the pandemic happened. I felt isolated, hopeless, and depressed all 2020, and that's when the disconnect grew. Before I knew it, my body was stiff and ached just like the world. I didn't know this body. This body had pain and was winded after walking up the stairs. Where was this body that was limber and eager to move and show up and out? I wanted to feel good in my body again. I wanted to feel connected and confident again. And in order to make that happen, some things gotta change. But then I got scared. Old thoughts started to creep in. Negative body thoughts and the idea to restrict and implement diets that don't do anything but be detrimental to my mind. I kept thinking, what is change without focusing on weight loss? How can I get back to wellness without diet culture sucking me in once again? To answer these questions, I talked to a dietitian, Esosa of Melanin Poppin' RDN.
My name is Esosa Osageide, aka Melanin Poppin' RDN on Instagram. Let's see, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, my master's in public health, emphasis in underserved communities.
What are some misconstrued notions you feel people have when it comes to wellness and health?
Yeah, so I think wellness is so overcomplicated in this world right now, like in this social media. It's like you have to. Wellness is a certain body size. Wellness is, going to Whole Foods or some type of another upscale food store to get the highest priced organic food, or wellness means going to the spa. Like, it's really not that deep. And I think those are some misconstrued notions. A lot of people are like, I'm really trying to achieve wellness, but it's hard. I'm like, okay, well, then I give them the definition of just like well-being,
right.
Being in a space where, your mental well-being is healthy, your physical well-being is healthy. This is just I'm trying to give them some working words. And they're like, oh, okay, so wellness really could be me doing my own fingernails at home. Like, it could literally be just that. Yes, exactly. Just that. Or so I can buy frozen vegetables and that'll be okay. Yes. If that's what you can afford, if that's what you have access to, yes.
Right.
So just that, and then also even like the bodies thing. Oh, I'm trying to lose weight because I want to be well. I want to be healthy. Well, so you don't have to be thin to be healthy or have a nice well-being, or whatever they're thinking of. So it takes a lot of unlearning, like helping people unlearn. And it can be, for me, it can be like exhausting, and that's why I kind of take a step back sometimes, because it just seems like, I get one down, I'm like, yes, she understands. Someone else pops up and I'm like, okay, I can't. It's hard.
But it's hard when you're unlearning something that is always in your face. Media, social media, people, family, friends, all of that.
I know. And I tell people in my program that it is just 3 months, and I give them such a great foundation, but this is work. You're going to have to keep doing this for a lifetime. And I tell them like this, I tell people, if you're not doing whatever wellness thing that Sally Mae is throwing out at you for the rest of your life, if you say, I can't do that for the rest of my life, then it's not wellness. It's not something that you can sustain.
Yes, exactly. So then your professional and or personal experience, in what ways have you seen diet culture affect one's mental and physical health?
I think I'll start with physical, and leave the most detrimental one last. But physical, the metabolism is what I go straight for. Metabolism is, I just explained it to my my ladies last night, is or 2 nights ago, metabolism is literally cellular respiration in our body, just trying to make ATP or energy. Yeah. That is just what metabolism means. And when you are decreasing your intake on and off, you are decreasing that process happening. It's going to make less energy for you throughout the body because it has to shut down, come back on, shut down. So that's just really a lot of stress on your body. And I try to, it's hard for people to think about that because it's not something you physically see. Yes. But it's happening within you. And then as you grow older, then you start to feel it. And people like us, they're like, we're good. I'm happy. I feel fine, but it's like, oh my God, you're only 20s. So give it some time. So physically, that's what diet culture does. I'm trying to think what else physically. It might come up to me, but mentally, mentally is, I think, the biggest thing for me. I've seen people just go into like a full depression when they feel like they can't get to a certain size, or I've been there. And then I've seen some of my friends do it, and it's really heartbreaking because I'm trying to get them out of that place. But when your mom is telling you need to lose weight before you go on the girls trip, it's like, okay, mom, I can't. It's hard to compete with the mom. Right. So, right. It is really sad because it really takes such a huge chunk out of you mentally and emotionally that sometimes you can't even recover it, depending on when they're ready or not, if they're ever ready. And then a lot of, even just going back to eating disorders, that's a whole different world. A lot of Black women like, eating disorder, I don't have no issues with eating disorders. And I'm like, okay, but you just binged, and then you threw it up, and then and then now you're trying. It's like, and then your emotion, and it's taking an emotional toll on you. And they're like, oh well, it's. I'm telling you, that's a white girl thing. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. Yeah. And then eating disorder is not just about eating. It's mental. Mm-hmm. That's why they have dietitians and therapists working together, not the health coach on the internet. Yeah, she's nowhere in that room. Never in that room. Yes.
I totally understand that as someone who do have binge eating disorder, and actually a dietitian. If it wasn't for a dietitian, like, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Like, she helped me so much, even a little bit more than the therapist, to be honest. Wow. Yeah. Dietitian. yes, and that's how I kind of learned about dietitians and things of that nature. Yeah, if it wasn't for her, her name is Erin Wolf Barnett, is this white woman in DC. Like, she really helped me. So, yeah. Nice. See, and it's, even from a medical standpoint, a lot of my clients would go to the doctor or even some of their therapists, which is crazy. And they'll be like the doctor, for example, would say to them, if they just come in from any problem, it could be any problem, and they just like, oh, it's weight loss. Or then the therapist, they might be feeling bad, feeling depressed, and I've heard some therapists bring up weight loss, and it's like, what? Yeah, I've had those experiences as well. Oh, see, that is terrible. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. And then going back to your first question real quick, when you said misconstrued notions, it's like thinness equals health, fat equals unhealthy. And it's like, we can say people can be naturally thin and eat, she can eat anything and stay thin. Yeah. Well, maybe somebody who's fat can eat nothing and stay fat. Or, Yeah. And then it's like, people are like, I start, even me normalizing the word fat, that's even something new for me, because of course I'm growing up in diet culture too, and it's just terrible to be fat. Yeah. But it's like, skinny is not good, fat is not bad. These are neutral body terms here. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that whole thing, because it took me a long time to be okay with the word fat, and like actually reclaiming that word for myself and not feeling like, oh, like, you know, about it. Yeah, you're totally right. It's just words. It's descriptive words. Yes. So Alex question is really interesting for me, and I think you kind of talked about it a little bit, but is it okay to want to lose weight? If not, why? But if so, what is the line where weight loss can be detrimental?
Yeah, so this is a good question. I saw this, I was like, oh, that's good. It is okay to want to lose weight. Why? Because I do understand a lot of people, for example, as kids, and especially if your parents has let you eat anything, you can continue with those eating habits. Nobody taught you about nutrition, and then you get, you know, mid-20s, late 20s, and you're like, sheesh, like I'm starting to really put on. I'm not sure what's going on. And then it's like, okay, yes, I can help you lose weight. I can help you understand your nutrition. I'm not just gonna give you a sheet of paper and say, here, try this. Like, no, I want you to understand, so we never have to come to this again. But, and then even moms gaining weight, or they want to, you know, lose weight after having their children, those type of things. But other scenarios that I'm like, weight loss might not be for you is if I can tell you're really being obsessive about weight and need a specific weight to come off. It's like, okay, and then you're not budging as we're talking either, as I'm trying to talk about it. That can be unhealthy. And then even when somebody says, I asked them, what weight are you trying to get to? And then at what point in your life were you at this weight? And they're like, okay, I was 130 and I was in high school. And I'm like, ma'am, you are 40.
Yes.
We're not doing that. We're not going back to high school. I mean, you had 3 kids, you live life, pay bills. No, we're not going back to high school where you had none of that.
Yeah, your body needs a whole different, like, it's changed so much. Like,
it's changed.
It needs a whole different type of thing now.
Oh, exactly. Whole different dynamic. I mean, we are supposed to gain weight in our lifetime. Now, and that's okay. Like, I want people to understand, I don't mind helping you lose weight, but I want you to normalize that weight gain, natural weight gain through our lifetime is normal as well. And then if somebody is currently in a weight loss journey, and where it becomes detrimental is when you're trying to lose. For example, somebody even hopped in my DMs today and was like, oh, my doctor wants me to lose 40 pounds in 3 months. It's like, that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all.
Yeah.
And then when they're just stuck on wanting to do that, I'm like, okay, I can't work with you because I can't contribute to your mental deterioration. Yeah.
It's just excess stress as well, like, especially when you hear medical professionals like doctors say those things. I've had a doctor, it's so funny you talked about when you go for one thing, they say weight loss. I had a doctor, I went for boils around my body. I have hidradenitis suppurativa, and I knew about it. But I wanted a doctor to, like, diagnose me officially so we can figure out what can be done. And she told me that it's probably hygiene and I need to lose weight because I have folds, right? So, and other fat. So that when I went to the doctor way, like, a couple years ago, I would cry after every thing because it was just so much stress and so much, like, mental, like, anguish and hurt from hearing what a doctor says about my weight when I'm, like, trying so hard, and it actually aggravated the disorder.
Yes. Oh my god.
Now I advocate for myself in the doctor's office. Like, I don't want to see my weight. I don't believe, you know, I have to immediately lose weight for me to, like, give me help other than say lose weight. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I tell them up front, because I don't want that experience again. But it's so common. It's so common.
It's so sad. I mean, I obviously been privileged. They don't ask me. I go in there. They help me out with exactly what I got going on. My knee hurt. You look at my knee. You don't look at my BMI. So yeah. So, but I definitely feel for you in that story. I mean, I've heard it from people in my family, and it's definitely sad. I try to tell people all the time. Doctors took one nutrition class. It was an undergrad. It was probably the time they was cheating off each other. So let's just, take a step back. Please don't. I have respect for all of my health professionals.
Yes.
But they're in the wrong lane. They're just in the wrong lane.
Right.
I don't go in there and tell your clients, here, take this heart pressure medicine, blood pressure medicine. Yeah. Like, that's not my lane.
Yes.
Or tell them, like, don't take it. Like, I would never. Right. If your doctor prescribed it, I respect what he's thinking. Let's take it and let's continue to work on our nutrition to see if we can get off of it. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, please.
Right.
We can do it with nutrition. No.
Yes, that's real. That's real. Just stay in your lane. Exactly. Next question is, when it comes to health and wellness, what does having a balance mean to you?
Oh, man. Balance is, I will say, it's definitely, what's the word? It's unique to everyone, but I will say a general term is understanding, knowing, the foods that are nutrient dense, knowing that sleep is really good for you, like knowing all these different determinants of health, and understanding how do I explain this? Like, balance is tough. Like, I don't want to tell people it's the good and the bad, but it's understanding that if I have a meal that's higher in saturated fat, it's not going to hurt me. Or if I have one night where I sleep 2 hours, it's not going to hurt me. But realize, if you are continuing 2 hours sleep all the time, or eating foods high in saturated fat, understand that your risk for certain diseases will go up. That's it. And just knowing that there's a balance in your eating patterns, and also just even like how you talk to yourself. There should be a balance. You shouldn't always be talking negative to yourself. Let's balance it out with some positive affirmations or something happy in your life. It can't always be negative. I understand positivity is not always attainable. Like, you don't always have to be positive. That's off balance, honestly. But just having a balance of both of it can be the negatives and the positives. Right. So I say just weird. It's a weird definition, I know, but I think that's what balance means to me. Yeah, I feel like I connect with that. Like, I learned about allostatic load, you know what I mean? So just being more mindful of, like, your body. Yes, your body does homeostasis all the time, but like when it comes to allostasis and everything, like, your body can adapt to the stressors that you can do it. So is it going to be good stressors such as like exercise and things of that nature? Is it or like sleep and things of that nature? Or are you going to continue to do the bad things or bad things such as like eating, like you said, the saturated fats? And it's really about like the consistency and making sure that the good stuff outweighs a little bit. Yes. And then and then I just feel like it really is a mental thing before anything physical too. That's like true. Having just knowing, like, okay, I know I need to make sure I'm getting fruits and vegetables in my diet, but also just knowing, like, it's okay to indulge sometimes. It's okay if I might go 5 days without one single vegetable. Okay, that's not my whole life, though. That's not my whole, year, though. Those type of things. I feel like it's mental first, and then it plays out in your actions. Perfect. So our last question is, what are some tips for people who want to improve their health in a world that's heavily influenced by diet culture? Oh man, I have said it before and I'll say it again. I think people really should look at their social media first and foremost, because it really is taking up a lot of our mental space. That's what we're eating essentially. And if you have people on your feed telling you, giving you, oh, to lose weight, do juices, to be healthy, you have to be this way, and then like really showing off their body in a way that they're trying to sell something to you. I'm like, from my page, I try to be really careful with that. And I will say, I've never actually said this on my page, but when I first started my social media, I really didn't want to show myself. One, because I am an introvert, but two, I don't want people to work with me because of my body. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, first of all, I have to show up on social media because it is more personable when people see you.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not trying to shame, like, this sounds weird. I'm not trying to shame myself to like be in a corner because I'm trying to make sure everybody else is safe. But I try to say all the time, please don't work with me. If you're trying to look like me, it will not work. You do every single thing I do, and our bodies will never be the same. So I really feel like, follow those people who are very clear about that in their messaging, that you're trying to get maybe nutrition information from, and then people are like, so I can't follow baby girl with the big booty who's like trying to get people big booties for the summer. I'm not saying you can't follow Miss Big Booty, but just know maybe your butt won't look like hers, and that's okay. We can tone, we can strengthen, you can do her workets, get her little guide. But if it has anything to do with nutrition, don't do it because it's not for you. That's probably what she did. And let's be honest, a lot of it is genetics. If that is really her body, and not a lot of people are getting surgery out here and then talking about you can do this too. Like a knife did that. Not this juice.
A doctor did that.
yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. But I'll say social media needs to be looked at, reevaluated. And I would say next we need to think about our own thoughts. This part might take some time because I tell people now we have to be intentional with, okay, once the thought comes to our head, stop. Let's write it down real quick. Okay, I just said something about I just said crater thighs to myself. Let me write that down first, because that might be something that's always programmed in you to keep saying every time you walk in front of a mirror. Instead of letting that keep going, let's write it down. And then just come up with, I tell my clients, come up with all the things that you're saying to yourself that is just not helpful to your emotional health, your mental health, and just your relationship with yourself. And then let's find ways to combat those things. Find people in your life, which this might be hard for some people because some people are in the place they are in because of people who raised them, but find some people, some friends, hopefully some family that can help you change those thoughts, that you feel comfortable telling people, hey, I've been saying this stuff to myself for all these years. I really would love your help in changing this narrative. I mean, just explaining, being vulnerable with somebody else, it can be hard. I'm not even, doubting vulnerability is tough, but I think vulnerability comes with some strength too. Because you're willing to change. That's a big step. So if you can do that, get somebody to help you change those thoughts. Like I was saying on my social media, there's a pyramid. Like, let's start with body respect. Then we can move up. Okay, let's just start with body respect first. Let's see. I think when you have body respect for yourself, you're more willing to actually do stuff for your health and not just like to change your body. Not just to fit into a certain mold that you thought was healthy or wellness. You're willing to maybe eat vegetables a little bit more, fruit. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I love that. I think that's great. It starts first, work on the mind, and then work on the body.
Right.
After this conversation, I dug deep inside myself to find out what wellness and body respect look like to me. A friend gave me some great advice. She told me to be silent and ask my body what it needs. So I did. And it was there where I found all of my answers. Wellness to me is sustainable, pleasurable, and fulfilling. Body respect to me is about building a solid relationship with my body, no matter what stage we are in. I accept and appreciate the temple I was given, always and in all ways. As for what my body needs, it told me adornment, more nature, more rest, more joyful movement and nourishing meals. And most importantly, more patience, grace, and self-compassion. Now that I'm tuned in, it's time to pour in love and action. Till next time.